Bună ziua și bine ați revenit pe canalul nostru și o plăcere deosebită să o revedem pe Alexandra și astăzi continuăm cu informațiile extrem de interesante și de importante pe care ni le prezintă și vă asigur că avem material pentru ani în șir. Astăzi vreau să ne referim un pic la traume și la faptul că tot ce am citit și eu și am observat de altfel și în rândul prietenilor și cunoștințelor mele, că în fața aceleiași situații reacționăm diferit cu toții. Ce înseamnă asta din experiența ta profesională și cum se traduce acest lucru în planul fizic al fiecărei persoane?
Thank you so much, Alexandra, for having me. It's such a pleasure to always be on your lovely channel. Yeah, today I would like to bring forward a little bit of the biopsychosocial lens and what that means, and also related to trauma. So let's start off by explaining a little bit the biopsychosocial, what that means. So if you're able to break it down a little bit, you're able to see the bio, which stands for biology, psycho, which is psychology, and social is a social aspect of it. This lens is used not only in the psychology world, but also in the medical field. And as we're saying, the biopsychosocial lens means one, understanding that we are one, or we should be one. You know, the body and the mind are not separate. So not only they're not separate, they also impact factors of your bio, which is your biology. So your genetics, your physical health, as well. Those are things implicated in it. I'm just looking here. Your nervous system as well is also one of them. So as well. And then of course your psychosocial, so your psycho part, your psychology part, that has aspects of your own mental health. So how you cope with stress, your communication, your distraught thinking patterns, any mental health illnesses that you might have as well. Any coping strategies, how do you cope with things as well? So these are things that we also learn. These are learned behaviors as well and things. So that brings me to the social aspect of it. So your social aspect. So your social is your financial means. Are you working? Are you not working? Also, have you been able to see a doctor? Were you not able to see a doctor? Where were you raised? Your culture, your religion, all of those factors. And we include all of them because they all create one lens of medical. So when we're seeing a client or a patient, an individual, regardless, it's not about just taking the aspect of their physical illness, but it's about looking at the lens of their biopsychosocial, because all aspects of it make an individual. And one thing that I really like to always incorporate, and I like to say, and it's a lovely quote, and that is that we are a product of our time. And I think that really relates to that biopsychosocial aspect of it.
Ai spune cumva, practic, că trebuie abordată fiecare ființă umană în mod individual. Adică, cumva, medicina, deși în multiple aspecte tratează indivizii pentru o anumită afecțiune la modul general, cu toate acestea, din perspectiva a ceea ce cunoaștem acum tot mai mult, este abordarea aceasta individuală devine din ce în ce mai importantă. Pentru că factorii despre care tu vorbești sunt esențiali în principiu și nu au cum să caracterizeze pe absolut toată lumea în același fel. De aceea boala nu se poate manifesta în același fel pentru fiecare persoană. Poți să mai detaliezi un pic acest aspect pentru că, în realitate, cel puțin în societatea noastră, încă perspectiva aceasta a tratării individuale a pacientului încă este o noțiune, cred că, cu care nu suntem atât de obișnuiți. Dar cred că este esențial să înțelegem că deja avem susținere științifică în spate, avem dovezi din ce în ce mai multe și nu este o abordare așa, nu știu, cumva pare superficială sau pare cumva gândită ca și cum nu avem un fundament științific sau medical. Cu toate acestea, există studii și mi-ai tot vorbit despre asta și aș vrea cumva să-mi povestești mai multe.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a great question. And yes, the answer is yes, full on yes. You know, we do need individual treatments, and not only in a therapeutic lens, but in the medical field as well. So one example that I could just kind of go about is, let's say you have a patient come in let's say their age is around 43 years old. They're coming in with breast cancer, let's say, and, it's stage 3. Now, our question is, a whole bunch of questions, but the person is very young, right? What is going on with this person, in their life? So this is where the biopsychosocial lens comes. So we analyze their biology, their genetics. Do you have anyone in your family? Has anyone had cancer before? Yes, no. All those questions, all those factors are you healthy? Are you not? Do you do any physical health? What is your nutritional intake? All of those lovely questions. Okay. Then it comes your psychological. So now the aspect is, what is going on in your life? Do you have any stressors? How are you coping with this? How have you coped with this new diagnosis? How are you processing this? What does your support system look like? And then you go social aspect as well. Do you have financial means? Do you have the ability to see a doctor? What made you wait until this got into the 3rd stage? Did you not know of it? Did you not have access to care? So not only are you analyzing and you're expecting and you're getting a clear picture of the past. And when we're talking about psychosocial, we also can include, and this is something we'll discuss further on in a different episode, but the adverse childhood experience, which is about developmental trauma. So developmental trauma, developmental issues in the brain. So when you're doing a psychosocial, you're also going to go back into the past. How did this person was raised? Did they have a lot of stressors? Did they have trauma in their life? Physical trauma, sexual trauma, emotional trauma, all of those aspects, because we've seen a lot of studies and that are related to cancer, for example, and stress. And now I'm not saying that all cancers are just due to stress. I'm not saying that, of course, but all aspects are included because the mind and the body are together. They're one, right? So something is happening in there. But even regardless, let's say the person was completely happy, nothing was going on for them, and they have cancer. Okay. Biopsychosocial lens is, how are they going to process this after the diagnosis? Do they have support? How are their thinking patterns? Because anger, anxiety, all of these are mental illnesses. ADHD, for example, anyone that isn't diagnosed, have any other mental health disorder or distorted thinking patterns, and active listening is a skill. So we have listening blocks. So with that being said, everything that we're perceiving in this world has to do with our lens, the way that we see it, right? So if this person is diagnosed with something, the question is, how are you coping with it? Because if you're still using, like if you were an angry person, you're not going to be less angry now that you have cancer. If anything, you'll be more angry, right? So there's this individual doing all the right treatment medically, doing all the right treatment. Everything is, I'm using quotations because they're doing everything, right? But then we're not asking about their mental health and their social aspect. How are you going to any groups? Are you talking about this? Do you have supports? Are you relating it with someone? How are you thinking about this? How are you perceiving it? We've seen in studies the placebo effect. And that's something that I'll talk about more about what placebo, what that means, and how much core beliefs affect someone's ability to heal as well. And when we're talking about core beliefs, we're talking about their mental state. So all of that has a factor.
Acum te-aș întreba, e extrem de interesant și de important tot ce ne-ai precizat, dar te-aș întreba pentru cineva, pentru că tu cunoști societatea din România și pentru că te-ai format, te-ai născut, dar te-ai și format în medicină în România. Cum ar putea cineva care, uh, nu știu, are un diagnostic de o boală complicată, serioasă, cum ar putea să aplice ceea ce tu ne spui acum? De exemplu, dacă susținerea nu o are în momentul de față, atunci când se duce la medic și abordarea nu este aceasta despre care tu ne spui, ce ar putea el să facă pentru el, da? Deci el pentru el, practic, să capete susținerea de unul singur, din păcate, sau să-și caute singur resursele. Și a doua întrebare care îmi vine în minte și pe care eu am trăit-o de altfel și mi se pare iarăși extrem de importantă, poate abordăm subiectul ăsta în alte emisiuni. Ce ar trebui să facă familia unui om bolnav? Pentru că aparținătorii, așa cum se numiți în România, cei care, mă rog, îl însoțesc pe bolnav în terapiile pe care le are, sunt neglijați total. Aspectul acesta nu este discutat niciodată, nu ne gândim deloc la faptul că dacă unul dintre membrii familiei intră el în depresie înaintea bolnavului, ar putea să influențeze foarte mult, exact cum ne-ai explicat tu, apropo de noțiunile acestea pe care ni le explici și cât de important este mediul, da, al pacientului, ar putea de multe ori să fie influențat de omul de lângă el, de cel mai apropiat om de lângă el. Și atunci, întrebarea ar fi cum ar putea, în principiu, în momentul în care se instalează o boală sau o traumă care afectează familia, cum ar putea să se sprijine reciproc membrii familiei, nu doar bolnavul în sine, sau care ar fi variantele pe care un om care ne urmărește ar putea să le înțeleagă, să le facă pentru el, să se ajute.
A great question. There's a lot of resources. Like one thing, of course, that I recommend for every single individual on this whole planet is to seek counseling, to seek therapy, to see a psychologist, you know, and that's one. And that's not only when you're going through something, you know, and I think one other thing is maintaining that. And I know financial means is a big aspect into seeing someone. So that's 100% valid. But for anyone that is able to have contact with a psychologist, you know, I recommend, and this is kind of just eliminating that stigma. You know, a lot of people, and I quote this, and I don't think it, not everyone thinks this, but sometimes like, oh, you got to be crazy to go see a psychologist, you know, and that's not true. You know, the truth of the matter is that our brain is like a computer, and we don't know what we've downloaded in there. You know, we really don't. And we really need to clear the area a little bit. So if that's not an option, which again, I recommend for anybody all the time to go seek that, is also online resources. Like right now, on this day, one thing I can always recommend is having that support. And I think the great aspect about where we're at right now with online opportunities is to be able to go online. There's a lot of support groups online. A lot of them are free. They're nonstop, some of them. They have every hour. They're all around the world. So what's great about this is that you have different mindsets and different cultures. So the way I said that we're a product of our time, meaning a biopsychosocial lens again, right? Each person that you'll meet from anywhere around this world within those groups, they'll have a different lens, you know, to be able to kind of get that support that an individual needs. Another one is, of course, you know, communication. And that is something, again, that's a skill learned. That's your social. You know, that is your social aspect. So being open to communicate, to know how to communicate your feelings and your emotions and what you're going through. You know, many times we don't communicate what we're feeling, and we communicate just the aspect of it. So one example that I can just give with this would be a very silly one. Let's say someone feels very overwhelmed because they said they're going to complete a chore. So they don't express, I feel very overwhelmed. They say, why didn't you do the dishes, kind of thing, you know, very much like just direct to the subject, right? So the person gets offended and they get like defensive. So the idea is to be like, I feel very overwhelmed when this is not being done. So it's not putting on the person. So again, that's a communication skill, but it's about being vulnerable, being open and being vulnerable. And I think that's something all of us as a society and a one that we have issues with, you know, and again, that goes again into that biopsychosocial aspect, because being Romanian as well, and I'm proud to be Romanian, you know, we are very much conditioned to be strong, to endure things, to cope with it, you know, and I can always be like, one thing that comes to my mind is my father being like, oh, ce-ți bați capul, trebuie să o faci. Or he would always say something, you know, like, keep going, you got to do this, suck it up, you know, and that's a culture. And I've seen it. It wasn't just my father necessarily, you know, it would be like, no, you'll figure this out and you'll get through this. But as a culture, you know, we are very strong, capable humans, you know, as Romanians, that we are able to deal with a lot of things. So we do take on a lot more. And again, that is that social aspect of us.
Alexandra, continuăm discuția noastră în episodul următor. Este extrem de interesant și mi-am notat câteva aspecte pe care sigur o să ți le ridic cumva ție către răspunsurile tale profesioniste în ediția următoare. Mulțumim mult încă o dată pentru prezența ta și pentru timpul pe care îl dedici nouă aici în România.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure being here. Thank you.